there's a lot of people that watch Days of Thunder too much and think it's like Tom Cruise and Gene Hackman or whatever saying catchy phrases. Real racing is about analyzing in a scientific way. You know, it's the boring guys that make the cars go quick. It's not glamour. There's a lot of hard work involved.
Racing is like chess at 200 kilometers an hour, you know? It's a very strategic sport. You have to think through, make your moves in the smart way.
It takes a lot of mental preparations to race. You know, you have to take everything into account, whether to push, whether to relax, like to conserve the tires.
The mental game there has to be strong.
Long time out since the last time I saw the boys.
I was prepping up, you know, getting ready mentally and what I was going to do. And then the news came in.
As we all know, CMCO, COVID, coming back.
We only managed 2 days of the development program before we had to break.
I was really gutted.
Yeah, we were all bummed out because we were all looking forward to going back on track.
Everyone understands that this is a lifestyle thing that's been changed completely. I think they've all handled it pretty well. You can see everyone's got big smiles on their faces.
It's good that we're back now.
We are going to start today with a track walk. I know some of you have done this before, but I think most of you have never been around Sepang. Some of the drivers who've done some karting, they would have done track walks, but obviously this is a proper Formula 1 track, it's a different kettle of fish.
I've never actually walked this track before.
You also need to do it because every track is different and you need to decide what sort of mental approach you're going to take that weekend for this track. Without further ado, let's go for our walk.
It's about 6 kilometers the track. So it took us about an hour and a half to walk the whole track, and it was really tiring.
It's very important to do a track walk. I think when you're walking on it in person, you see it much more clearer from when you're in the car. Everything happens a bit too quickly for you to realize.
You're going so quick, you're going about over 200 kilometers per hour. 5 kilometers goes in 3 minutes, whereas if you're walking the track, 5 kilometers goes in an hour, 2 hours.
Alex taught us a lot about the track and what we need to do.
Out and then straight. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
I ride it all the way until the nose is pointing at the KBS logo.
Yeah.
We break it the straight line and then we V the corner out.
He showed us the surfaces of the track.
Talking about track evolution, trying to look out for signs on the track for grip.
We found out that some surfaces were much more grippier than other surfaces.
Especially when it's dry versus when it's wet.
Which surface is rougher than which? Can you go on this curb? Can you go on that curb?
Because a lot of people, they see the track, they think it's just turns and turns, but a lot of turns, sometimes they're uphill, sometimes they're downhill.
I realized that the track has a lot of elevations, much more than I expected it to be, because when I drive, it felt like I was going straight, but when I walked, it went up.
Sometimes they're offset to the left, to the right a little bit. The camber.
For camber, which I like that, so like NASCAR.
So yeah, my name is Adam Khalid. I'm from Kuala Terengganu, Malaysia. I've been racing for about ±8 years now. I was driving in the sporting category.
My name's Hayden Haikal. I'm 16 years old and I drive in the super sporting class. Alex contacted me about coaching the rookies.
Would you like to help me out with grooming young talents? And I was like, yeah, I'm all for that.
Hayden and Adam have been great. You know, they're so helpful. They always want to help the boys because they've been in the same position. You know, they've had other drivers help them, and it's great to give back to the sport.
First, I was a bit surprised since I'm around that age, so I thought it wouldn't be that suitable.
I say kids, but they're only like 2 years younger than me, you know?
But Hayden is not their age. Is it different in terms of the dynamics? Do you think it's a mutual respect sort of situation, or are they still being kids?
That's a good question. You should ask them that.
Some of them are my close friends, like Ame, Juan, Troy.
I know Hayden quite well, good friends outside of driving. He has a lot more experience, so I can take that experience and improve
Yeah, on the track we respect each other, but off track we make jokes about each other.
Outside of driving, he tends to joke a lot and stuff, but when it comes to coaching, he's being serious.
How's the car feel?
I had some spare tires at the back.
Yeah, all of them did, so they're all taking it out now. Okay, everything okay? How's don't try and go too fast in the gear change because that hurts it too much. Ring out again? Yeah, as soon as it goes green, you guys go.
It feels great to be back, just sitting in the car once again, experiencing the track.
The main important thing was warming back up to the car, giving it a few rubs, you know, making it happy again. He left it for such a long time, you know, it must have been sad.
The boys are doing really well. Coming back from that long break is really nice to see that everyone's picked up their pace.
I expected them to maybe like forget a couple of things, but somehow they managed to still remember everything and in fact focus on things that are much harder to do. They've got all the basics, they just need to learn the hard parts like heel and toe.
Pretty pleased with our progress today, and you know, to look back to the last time we met, yeah, we've come a long way.
First time Sepang fastest was a 2 minute 56, which was really good on your first day of running. But straight away everyone's quicker than that, and I think the quickest time so far we've seen today is a 52.
They're all really close and they've all surprised me. 20% to go before they're, you know, they're race ready. So we get their feedback and we get the engineer's feedback based off data telemetry. I think data and telemetry is bread and butter of racing. You can be the fastest guy out there, but if you're not looking at your data, there's no point. You don't just want to know that you're fast. You want to know why you're fast.
It's very important, data, but it's also very important to use it correctly. The data may show what's happening, but it's very easy to interpret it wrongly and think it's happening because of this reason. It's actually happening because of this reason.
When we're looking for data, what we want is an honest feedback. We're not looking for, oh, the car's not like this, the car's not like that. We just want them to tell us, if the car's good, you tell us the car's good. If the car's acting up a certain way, let's say it's understeering into the corners or it's oversteering coming out of corners, you know, we want them to pinpoint what is wrong with the car.
I think as a racing driver, we all like tend to have our excuses. Oh, this car is bad, this car is that. But then I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, the data actually shows the truth.
No one's with you in the car, so the only thing that can actually help you is the data.
It shows what you did in the car, you know, not just us guessing where it is.
So we have to be very systematic when you're using the data, and that's also another important thing to teach the drivers.
We had Han, our data engineer, going through our data.
Basically, it's like a graph that shows your braking, your lines, your throttle.
When you put on the throttle and when you brake, where do you brake and how much you brake? Maybe you should brake less or brake more, brake earlier, brake later.
At first, it was very confusing to look at.
It took me a while to maybe understand the data a bit because it was quite complicated with all the graphs, but I think I figured it out at the end. Yeah. So we have like a map of a 3D map that shows our lines around the track.
You get to see the minor things such as your racing line. What's the disadvantage of taking that racing line? Because you may have like a bad exit, a slow entry.
Some are good, some are bad. Right, that turning is like
We have 6 drivers. There's 6 individuals that we can learn from and share knowledge between each other, and we share that through data.
See what we're doing differently with the throttle, with the brake, with the steering and everything, our lines, and what I should be doing instead.
We compare the data with obviously the faster ones, and we see where we lose time, and after that we try to improve on the things that we don't do correctly.
It just made it a lot easier to understand a lot about my braking. That was the main issue today. Because then I knew this corner I had to improve my braking, maybe lift the brake off the brakes more gradual, not sudden.
A lot of race has been put on hold.
Sad moment when we got the news that Sepang 1K was going to get cancelled.
It was a huge loss for us because Sepang 1K should have been like a huge learning step. 1000 km, we're going to drive there for like what, 9-10 hours.
You know, in that event, you can get a lot of track time and you can really learn a lot about the car.
All of the prep that we've done coming up to S1K is like completely out of the drain.
I was actually with my stepdad, and he was also really gutted because he was supposed to race as well.
It's not in our control, you know. Again, you know, it's for our own safety. We should follow what the government has stated.
Yeah, the boys are pretty disappointed. I was disappointed because I really felt the drivers would have done a really good job at S1K, and I would have surprised everyone at how quick they were going to be.
Everyone's kind of struggling with the COVID situation. People, of course, you know, sadly losing jobs. And especially in the racing scene, it's been really struggling for governments, for countries to actually hold events. And yes, it has been on my mind, thinking about it. Like in previous seasons, we were going to Penang, Johor, fabulous street circuits, you know. And this worry of it not happening this year is real.
I'm not sure how it will affect my racing in the future. I don't think, hopefully, it won't last that long.
I tend to think that if my career is on a pause, most people would also go on a pause, so we're kind of like an equal playing field.
The drivers adjusted it to it quite well. They've had great spirits and been very positive, and they're looking forward to 2021.
Yeah, there's still TGR Season 4 to come.
I think now in the TGR Season 4, my target is to be the best out of all the rookies. I think everyone was hoping for TGR Season 4 to start, and I'm glad to say that it's going to start at the end of the month.
I don't know if you've read the news, but MCO might come back into action. They've been talking about it, rumors have been going around. I think if MCO comes back, TGR is definitely going to get postponed because we aren't going to be allowed to have these sort of like huge events.